Hi, this is Larry London, and I welcome you to Border Crossings. We are joined today by a legendary performer, a Grammy winner, and we'd like to welcome from the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, the man who founded the band. We welcome John McEuen to our show. Nice to have you.
Thank you. Now, I didn't found the band by myself. There were other guys. I was a co-founder.
A co-founder. Well,
Yeah,
you
I
were one of
don't.
the original guys, though, Make a
Yeah,
Little Magic and all the other big hits Nitty Gritty Dirt Band had. And of course, you won a big Grammy Award, but the Grammy wasn't for the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. The Grammy apparently was for a bluegrass album you produced for Steve Martin.
right. That was a wonderful thing. I won a Grammy 10 years before for an instrumental with the Dirt Band
Oh,
and
okay.
Drugs, but that was like a classroom meeting of pickers. This was Steve, and it was really cool because I told him this is going to be nominated for a Grammy, and I might win. He was like, not a chance. It'll never happen. Anyway, it happened.
It happened, stranger things have happened. We are talking with John McEuen, who is, a longtime friend of the Voice of America. John, you were on my show. You've been on a couple of times, I believe. You've been in our studios. We've had you on before. It's great to see you again, and you're looking great.
Yeah, I have to live with that. Yeah, thank you.
Live with the fact that you were on the show before, or live with the fact that you look good.
Oh, I'm okay. Yeah, when the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band was the first American group to go to Russia, we went to Voice of America in D.C., and that was really exciting. It was exciting to not know what was ahead.
So, of course, we were a part of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band history of music. And, thanks to Willis Conover, we were able to broadcast to Russia. He provided jazz music, and that kind of introduced VOA to the Eastern European section. And so we're glad to have you on, John. Now, you're here today to discuss a brand new album that came out in April. It's called Newsman. So I
The,
understand there's an interesting story as
yeah.
to why The Newsman, you called it that. And tell me about the album itself.
Well, I have this collection of stories, these these spoken word stories, and I've been doing spoken word for almost 60 years, 55. Before the Dirt Band, I would do songs like every time you know, every time I come to town, the boys keep kicking my dog around. My old dog Jim, he's an ornery old cuss. Anyway, it's like it was an old talking blues thing, and Hank Williams sings like. So I did the Mountain Whippoorwill one time, and it was part of the Dirt Band show.
Hmm.
25 years, I took it on the road with the band, and I put it on this album. The up in the mountains, it's lonesome all the time.
Hmm.
Soft winds blowing through it, sweet potato vine, and a bunch of other songs. You can't ignore talking music. Sounds exclusive, mutually exclusive, but talking with music or uh, Steve Martin's King Tut. King Tut. That was a Dirt Band that played the track, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
My brother managed Steve Martin for 20 years, and
Oh,
we ended up being the band doing that song.
wow, that's fantastic. So, the new album is out, and why did you call it The Newsman? I guess it has songs that span
Well,
200 years.
that was a one piece that I wrote about a guy that used to deliver newspapers in Hollywood. This is the guy he was really dedicated. He was he was liked by everyone. He was a guy that was what we call today handicapped. They were called crippled then. He's riding around on his motorcycle with a bunch of newspapers all over. I mean, he had newspapers on everywhere they could fit on this little scooter. And he'd sell his newspapers at Ben Frank's restaurant, which was on Sunset Boulevard. It was full of hippies and stoners and music business people, guys in suits, all kinds of people getting ready for the day, having breakfast. That was one of his stops. And everybody bought a paper. And then he would go to major agencies and record companies and nothing stopped him.
Hmm. And that was 60 years ago. And
Yeah,
you never forgot that story.
I never forgot it. This was the beginning of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, and I was road manager of the band and playing in the group. I was the oldest one. I was 20 years old.
John McEuen is our guest, and The Newsman is the name of the new album. You're going to do a song for us right now?
I'll do one. This is Soldier's Joy. This is a song that brought the Circle album together, the one I wanted to record with Mr. Earl Scruggs. That was Soldier's Joy from the Circle Be Unbroken album, Will the Circle Be Unbroken.
Wow.
That album was amazing. And I found out last year, my brother's name was William McEuen. I didn't find that out last year, but what I did find out is the first recording of Will the Circle Be Unbroken was in England in 1915 by a guy named William McEuen. And that is kind of freaky. You know, he had the same name, one letter spelled different, but it's a letter that often changed anyway with this name.
Mm-hmm. Are you Irish?
It's kind of Scotch-Irish, yeah. I'm not sure.
Scotch-Irish.
Depends if I'm in Ireland or Scotland.
I love that. John McEuen is talking to us, longtime friend and one of the founders of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. And we're talking about The Newsman, which is his brand new album. And where are you right now? Studio, home studio? What are you doing? It looks like there's a lot going on.
My home studio in Franklin, Tennessee, and my office. And our recording equipment is over there. And
wow.
There's different stuff. That's in the background this is the Circle album I was talking about.
Right.
And it's always there in my. It's a magic album. It's in the Library of Congress and the Grammy Hall of Fame.
Wow, that is magic. That is definitely making a little magic. That's congratulations. Now, okay, I see all your posters and plaques and whatnot. Where are the Grammys?
They're downstairs. It's the only showbiz stuff I have in my living room.
So the big stuff right at the front of the coffee table.
No, they're just. I allow those to be in the living room. Oh yeah, those are the Grammys up there. Yeah.
Oh, that happens to be the Grammys. No big deal. Yeah, of course. Some people try their whole lives and never get one, but you've got two. So congratulations. That's a testament to your greatness. And what do you think that made you? What do you think that makes you different from other artists? And what do you think is it that also has sustained the test of time? What has kept you going?
The audience. When I go out and play, there's people there that they seem like they need this, what I do. I tell stories. I tell stories that are behind the music, about how Kenny Loggins' first recordings were, well, I recorded him, but did a demo with him in Laurel Canyon in 1968. He was 17 or 18 years old. We learned some of the songs off of that, and one of them became a hit. And it was House at Pooh Corner. And
wow.
It was really that music, the dirt band music, that it affected people in a magical way.
Yes, without question. Without it's affected my life too. I was playing, your hits when I was a kid, when I was a teenager.
You were playing our hit.
I was playing your hit, a medley of your hit.
Yeah.
No, you definitely, you guys have definitely carved a niche in folk music and Americana music and roots music and even pop music. Like, Make a Little Magic was a big pop hit, but you had so much other music out as well. Do you have plans to go on tour for the Newsman?
Well, yes, I have. I had a medical event last month. I had two heart attacks.
Oh no.
Yeah, and it was.
You don't do anything small, do you? You had two heart attacks.
There was a special going on at the hospital, so
Buy one, get one.
I'll take that. And I was in the next morning, and they took care of it. And I have dates that I'm starting to do in August.
Are you more health conscious now than you were before the heart attacks? Did all of a sudden did it open up your eyes or change anything about the way you live?
I think I'm more appreciative. Have a clearer head because I had two blockages. The triple bypass, as has been bypassed, puts more blood on the other side going to your brain. And I think it's, what was the question? No,
Has having heart attacks changed you
no,
in
that
any
was
way?
a joke.
Oh yeah. Okay. Got it. Got
More
it.
clarity. Think of that joke while I'm telling the story. What I mean.
Now, John McEuen, you mentioned, that you like to tell stories. One of the things your audience likes to see and hear are the stories. So let me ask you, have you published or have you thought about publishing a memoir, a book to go along with the album called The Book The Newsman?
I haven't thought of the Newsman book, but I have another book called The Life I've Picked. That's about what I worked on and about my life from being a kid to now.
What's the highlight been?
Highlight where?
In your life, in your career, what has the highlight been for you? What is the most prolific moment for John McEuen? Was it when you guys had a big hit on the charts? Was it meeting somebody, working with somebody, winning the Grammys?
One of them was the 50th year at the end of it, stepping off the bus and going, I'm going on my own. I'll see you guys later. That was, 50 years of doing the same thing was like a big deal. It was kind of ingrained. It gets to around 4 o'clock. I'd be home and I go, don't I have to be at the sound check? Oh, there was no show today. I'm home. And that was a major thing. But getting a record on the radio, it's really exciting to think that you're reaching people. That's what I wanted to do in 1967.
Wow.
And I heard Bye From Me to Rain with my banjo coming out of the radio. And it was, oh yeah. And the next major hit was Bojangles, but that took 3 years. 3 years later, and that was neat. I was playing mandolin on that. Okay, I'll take that. And then our career started. There were various. Well, the circle being broken was a definite high point. I mean, to be in the Grammy Hall of Fame and the Library
It's
of
12
Congress,
o'clock.
Sorry, to be in the Library of Congress and the Grammy Hall of Fame is unusual. And that was years after. And it made me write this book about the Circle album, the making of the Circle album, where I took my brother's photographs. My brother was a manager and he shot pictures of the session, 105 pictures, and wrote a story about each.
That's great. How does somebody get the book if they want to get your book, if they're living out of the US?
Amazon.
All right. Well, we're talking with John McEuen, who was one of the founders of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. You talked about Mr. Bojangles, which was another one of my favorite songs. Do you have a favorite song among the collection that you guys have put out and you recorded and produced?
Among the Dirt Band songs?
Among all your songs?
Oh, yeah, I have 5 favorites. Soldier's Joy that I played on the banjo, but with two banjos and a bass. That's a favorite recording. That's timeless. Doc Watson doing Tennessee Stud on the Circle album. A perfect record. It was just, when we put that was just one take, you know?
Wow.
As were 3/4 of the songs on the Circle album were first take. And then the rest were like, we had to do again the second time.
And even when you do it the second time, you still end up going back to the first time. It's not as bad as you thought.
That happens sometimes, for sure.
Yes. Okay, you're going to do another song for us, John? What are we going to hear next?
Well, I played all around the world, and I've been traveling a long time. And this song of Merle Travis's really appeals to me. I Am a Pilgrim.
All right. I Am a Pilgrim. Here's John McEuen on Border Crossings.
Yeah, I'm a pilgrim and a stranger traveling through this wearisome land. I've got a home in that yonder city, good Lord, and it's not made by man. Well, I've got a brother and a sister who have gone to that sweet home. I just pray that I can go and see them, oh yeah, on that other shore. Get it, boys. When I go down to that river of Jordan, just to bathe my weary soul. If I could touch but just the hem of his garments, oh yeah, they say that can make me whole. Now when I'm dead, laying in my coffin, all of my friends, both of my friends, all gathered round, they will say that he is laying there sleeping, good Lord, sweet peace. Yeah, his soul is found. Yeah, I'm a pilgrim and a stranger traveling through this wearisome land. Jamming home, boys.
Border Crossings, I Am a Pilgrim. It's John McEuen who is our guest today. You have worked with so many different artists. Do you have favorites that you like to collaborate with?
Oh man, Steve was great. Steve Martin he was a real pro. I mean, musically he was a pro. And when we worked on this album, it was like we'd rehearse a song and it would go, yeah. Okay, that was pretty good. Let's do it again. He'd do a 3-minute song 10 times in an hour.
Wow.
Whatever. It was just no talking. In the studio one time, one of the songs I was recording him on, Steve, you have to count this off, I say from the control room. He goes, okay, yeah. And he goes, okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I go, no, wait a minute. I come back on the talk back and say, Steve, in the studio, we don't do the last number. It's got to be silent because of echo and stuff. He goes, oh, yeah, I get it. Okay, everybody ready? There's like 6 people out there. And he goes, 1, 2, 4. It cracked everybody up.
Yes, that working with Steve Martin must have been a very interesting experience. And I know the video for King Tut is wild. It's all over the place. So did you guys work on the video first, or you laid down a song for vinyl first?
The song was laid down for vinyl. My brother recorded it in Aspen in his studio in 7 hours, recorded, arranged, recorded, mixed, and mastered, all in about 7 or 8 hours.
John McEuen, are you a singer or a songwriter first? Which one?
I'm more of a songwriter. On this album, I have an instrumental that I wrote that it's the only non-song, non-lyrical song on the album, Jewel's theme. And it is instrumental that I hope somebody doing a film will go, that's perfect score for my film. And I'll sell it to them.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you've ever scored a movie because you like to write the musical instrumental part.
Well, that's one thing that led me to doing The Newsman and finally finishing it up. I've scored about 14 things. I got an Emmy nomination for one score, and with National Geographic, and I was scoring in one movie for Tommy Lee Jones, and Sissy Spacek was in it too. That was really neat. Anyway, one of the cues, Tommy Lee said, John, I like that first cue and the second one, but that third one sounds like a bunch of damned elevator music. And I was listening to it, and it was, the third one was it took too much attention away from the screen. He told me, you can't divert the attention of the audience to the music. It has to support what's going on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody says, hey, that's a great score, well, the guy doing the score has kind of lost the track, lost the purpose.
Right.
But that's doing this album, it was really interesting to play music that's supportive to the lyric. Not play where there is lyric. I try to avoid 80% of the time. But like on Old Rivers, one of the songs on there, it's like the notes are in between the words, kind of. That's the way lyric songs are often. That and then and furthermore, all the little.
You mentioned earlier about talking. That talking and music are, something that should be together, that do go together. The audiences want to hear that. I think they call it rap music, don't they? Talking with music.
No, it's been called talking blues, and yes, rap music came along, but it's been around a long time since the 1800s. There were talking songs.
Wow.
And they would say, to the tune of Irish Washerwoman, with Irish Washerwoman playing behind it.
Wow.
Anyway.
What are you going to do for us next, John? Which song?
I think I ought to do Old Rivers. Let me go where my guitar is, the other guitar. How old was I when I first seen Old Rivers? Seems like that old fellow was always around. Spent his whole life doing hard work, always walking that plowed ground. He had a one-room shack, not far from us. We were about as poor as him. Had an old mule called Midnight Oil. I'd tag along after them. He'd plow his rows straight and deep. I'm following along there behind, busting up those dirt clods with my own two bare feet. Old Rivers, he was a friend of mine. Oh, the sun would get high and that mule would work.
Old Rivers had finally said, whoa. He leaned back on his plow and talked about how there was a place he was going to go. He said, one of these days I'm going to climb that mountain, walk up there among them clouds, where the corn is high and the cotton's growing, and there ain't no fields to plow. I got a letter today from the folks back home. They're all fine. Crops are dry. Down at the end, my mom said, son, you know, old Rivers, he died. I'm sitting here now on this new plowed earth, trying to find me a little shade. I look across that field and I see that mule, old Rivers, and me. Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna climb that mountain, walk up there among them clouds, where the cotton is high and the corn is growing, and there ain't no fields to plow. Ain't no fields to plow. I'm sitting here now trying to find me a little shade. I look across that field and I see that mule, old Rivers, and me.
Old Rivers. That is John McEuen here on Border Crossings. And thank you so much for joining us today. Before we leave, I want to make sure I give you an opportunity to tell your audience, your fans around the world, a message. If you have any heartfelt message you want to send out to the world, which includes the troops, we're also broadcasting to the troops. But if you want to say anything to our audience, we'd love, this is your opportunity.
There's so many things going on in the world right now. If everybody could just be nice, it's not that hard. Just be nice. Quit sending bombs and rockets into towns, and quit shooting people, and just be nice. That's not a nice thing to do. And play some nice music and have fun with it and sing and dance and things like that.
A smile goes a long way, you know, and
Yeah.
people don't smile at one another often enough. Now, obviously, I can see you're still loving what you're doing. I can feel the passion still there. The fire's still burning. What do you think has kept that fire going for you?
The audience, the people out there.
Mm-hmm.
I go out and I play. I work on my own. In fact, I take one of the previous Dirt Band members, also a founding member, Les Thompson, with me. And we take a couple other people and we go out and we do a bunch of Dirt Band songs and music and stories behind the songs. We do a couple of things that music I've recorded, and so a lot of bluegrass from the Circle Be Unbroken album. And the audience seems like they're hungry. They like being talked to. They like hearing the story of how King Tut came together, or the story about how Steve Goodman wrote this song for us. And we were driving back to Nashville, and I'd stop every 200 miles and call him and get another verse. And finally got to Nashville and got the chorus. And, you know, it was like, anyway, it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. And you've given us a lot of great music and a lot of great memories. And we're so happy that you're still doing what you love to do. And I'm sure that the audience becomes infectious to you. It's not only they like to hear stories, you like to tell the stories, especially to an engaged audience that comes to see you perform. So the new album is called The Newsman, and it came out in April. It's now available. And where can people get the album? Where can they contact you? Where can they find out more information about John McEuen?
You can get my album from my website, which is johnmceuen.net. And there's stories and other things on there, T-shirts, records, books, a collection. It's johnmceuen.net, MCEUEN. And if you don't want to go there, go to Amazon. And that's the record store of today. And some record stores, a few that are out there, might have it.
Mm-hmm. Do you like the business today or when you first started? Because it's very different now with the technology.
I like it better about 5 to 10 years ago, and before the record stores closed.
Yeah.
Before, maybe 10 years ago, it seemed like you were closer to the audience. You were closer to being able to communicate.
Are you still putting out vinyl?
The Steve Martin album was vinyl, but I'm not right now.
Oh, everything you do is streams, digital, plus the album itself?
CD or digital. Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you so much, John McEuen, for being on the show again for us. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you. And I encourage the audience to get the Newsman. So thank you so much, John McEuen, for being our guest. My name is Larry London, and you are watching Border Crossings on VOA TV.